Most money advice runs on one silent assumption: cut every expense you can, save as hard as possible, and drive your net worth as high as it will go. Spend less, keep more, repeat forever. And for a while earlier on, that's generally good advice. But I want to talk about what happens when you follow it too long, past the point where it's serving you. Call that point the scarcity trap. It happens when frugality stops being a tool and quietly becomes the whole identity. You see, I've watched a lot of people fall into this. They put their heads down for a decade. They save relentlessly, invest diligently, but then deny themselves almost everything. And they hit their target. They actually win the game they set out to win. But they arrive at the finish line burned out, exhausted and weirdly empty. They got rich at the thing and forgot to live along the way. So here's the ship I want to walk you through today. Once your financial foundations are actually set, you've got your emergency savings, you're investing consistently, and you have real disposable income left over. The goal is supposed to change. You see, saving was never the point. Saving was the setup. The real skill, the one almost nobody teaches, is learning to deploy your money in a way that measurably improves your day-to-day life. Let me be really clear about the gate before we go further, because it matters. Everything I'm about to say assumes your foundation is already in place. This isn't go blow your rent kind of video. This is for the person who's already doing the responsible stuff and now sitting on cash that isn't buying them anything. And a quick honest note, this is a general education, not personalized financial advice. The situation is your own. The way I think about these purchases is simple. For every dollar, ask, what's the return on my life? Not just my portfolio, my time, my health, my stress, my energy. We're opting for the buys that score high on both. Reasonable cost, big return on how you actually live. And here are 10 of them. We start with what I think is the highest return upgrade there is. And it's the one people roll eyes at. Invest real money in your sleep. I mean, a genuinely good mattress, a blackout curtain that makes the room truly dark, control over the temperature so you're not too hot or too cold at 3 a.m. Yes, it's a chunk of money up front. And yes, it feels indulgent to spend on the bedroom. But run the math on the hours. You see, you spend roughly a third of your entire life in that one room, on that one surface. There's almost nothing else you use for 8 hours a day, every single day, for decades. And here's the plain logic. When you sleep badly, you know exactly what the next day feels like. You're foggy, you're short-tempered, you make worse decisions. Everything's harder. When you sleep well, the opposite. You think more clearly, you handle stress better, you have energy for everything else on this list. So improving the environment where you recover isn't pampering. It's upgrading the foundation that every other part of your performance sits on top of. Fix the room, and you quietly upgrade every day that follows. The second upgrade is spending to reduce the friction in taking care of your body. Depending on where you are, that might mean paying out of pocket for quicker appointments, private physical therapy, or faster testing when something is wrong. Whatever gets you seen sooner and with less hassle. Now, this one usually costs money on an ongoing basis. So why is it worth it? Because friction is a silent enemy of health. Think about how most people actually behave. When seeing someone about a nagging issue means weeks of waiting, phone taps, and a frustrating process, what do? We put it up. We tell ourselves it's probably nothing. We just don't go. When the process is fast and easy, that old calculation flips. You actually go. You stop avoiding it. And staying on top of small things before they become big things is one of the highest value habits there is. This upgrade doesn't buy you health directly. It buys you the behavior of not neglecting yourself, which over a lifetime is worth an enormous amount. And notice how 1 and 2 work together. Your sleep, your health are the baseline multiplier for everything else. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. All the money in the world loses its value if you don't have the energy or the health to actually enjoy it. You cannot spend your way to a good life from a hospital bed. The third one is pure financial mechanics. And if this applies to you, it comes before any lifestyle upgrade on this entire list. If your employer offers a matching contribution to your retirement account, contribute at least enough to get the full match. Here's why it jumps the line. When your employer matches, they are essentially adding their own money on top of yours. Money that only exists if you show up to claim it. It's compensation you've already earned that you're simply leaving on the table if you don't participate. And it starts compounding, growing on itself the moment it lands in your account. So, before you spend on a nicer chair or a faster doctor, make sure you're not walking past free money your employer is holding out to you. Not capturing an available match is a little like being offered a raise and saying no. So grab it first, then we move on to the fun stuff. The fourth upgrade fixes one of the most common mistakes I see. Piles of cash just sitting there, doing nothing. Now, don't misunderstand. You need a healthy cash cushion for emergencies. That's non-negotiable. But there's a difference between your safety cushion and a big lazy pile of cash far beyond it's just packed in a checking account out of habit or fear. Here's the problem with that idle pile. Over time, inflation slowly chips away at what your money can buy. The number in the bank account stays the same, but what it can actually purchase quietly shrinks year after year. On top of that, there's growth you're not getting. The money that cash could have been earning if you were to put to work. So idle cash costs you twice. It loses purchasing power and it skips the compounding it could have captured. I think of undeployed capital as a quiet tax on your future freedom. Keep your cushion, absolutely, but put the excess to work instead of letting it slowly down. Once your money is working, upgrade number 5 is a space you live and work, specifically better natural life, a genuine, comfortable and ergonomic workspace, and some greenery around you. You see, the reason is all about hours. You spend more weekend time in your home than anywhere else on earth. And when you're in an environment that much, tiny friction adds into something huge over a year. A chair that subtly aches, lighting that strains your eyes and drains you, a cramped cluster setup that keeps you a little tense all day without you even noticing. Flip each of those and you get the opposite effect, a small constant improvement to your baseline. A chair that supports you instead of fighting you. Light lifts your mood. A few plants that make the space feel calmer and more alive. None of this is dramatic on its own, but because you're exposed to them all day, every day, the compounding effect on your stress and focus is real. You're not decorating, you're lowering the background friction in your entire life. Upgrade 6 runs on the exact same logic, and it's the one people cut first. Put a real budgetic budget towards your passion, your sport, your creative hobbies, the things you do purely because you love them. Here's the pattern almost everyone falls into. You see, life gets busy, the pressure ramps up. Leisure is the very first thing we drop. It feels like the responsible sacrifice. I'll get back to it once things calm down. Well, things never really calm down, and so the fun quietly disappears. And that's a mistake, because play isn't the reward you earn after the work. It's part of what makes sustained work possible. Regular times doing things you genuinely enjoy is how you recharge, blow off pressure, and keep yourself from burning out. It's a buffer. Take it away and you don't become more productive, you just become more depleted. So protecting that budget and that time is protecting the psychological flow that a demanding life actually runs on. Number 7 is the one people find hardest to actually do. Start spending money to buy back your own time. This means paying to offload the tasks that drain you and don't require you specifically. Outsourcing chores, errands, the recurring stuff that eats your hours without moving your life forward. And for a lot of us, this feels deeply uncomfortable because we're raised to do everything ourselves. Paying someone else can feel lazy and extravagant. But look at it clearly. Your time and your energy are genuinely finite. You cannot make more of either. Every hour you spend on a low-value task you dread is an hour and a chunk of energy you don't get back. You can't spend on the work, people, or the rest that actually matter to you. So buying back your time isn't about being above the work. It's protecting your limited energy and pointing it at what counts. You're not purchasing convenience, you're purchasing focus. Which leads straight into upgrade number 8. And this is one I'll argue is the whole point of the others. Once you've freed up time and energy, deliberately spend money on your relationship and on shared experiences. That might be traveling to see family you don't get enough of, hosting a dinner, planning your trip with old friends, paying for experiences you'll actually remember years from now, instead of another object that will be forgotten in a drawer. Here's why this belongs on the financial list. You see, when people look back on their lives, it's almost never the possessions they treasure. It's the people and the moments. And yet, These are the things that we chronically underspend on because they don't feel like investment in the traditional sense. But they are. Strong relationship and rich experiences are, for most people, the single biggest source of a life that feels good to live. So deploying capital here isn't frivolous. It's aiming your money at the thing it was always supposed to be for. Everything else on this list is scaffolding. This is closer to the building itself. Now, the pivot towards earning power. Upgrade 9 is investing in your own output, specifically spending to close the single most expensive gap in your skill set. That could be an intensive course or a serious certification or professional coaching in the area where you're weakest. The way to sanity check this one is beautifully simple. Ask, if this training raises my earning power enough to pay for itself within a year or two, is it worth it? When the answer is clearly yes, the decision gets easy. You're not really spending the money. You're advancing it to a more capable version of yourself who earns it back and then keeps earning beyond it. Most people happily spend on things that lose value the moment they bought, but hesitate on the one category that can actually pay them back for decades: your own capability. Closing the real skill gap is one of the few purchases that can keep returning value long after the receipt is gone. And the 10th upgrade is one people underrate: a functional wardrobe that fits the environment you operate in. I'm not talking about chasing fashion or burning money on logos. I'm talking about dressing in a way that fits the norm of your world. It makes you feel put together, because how you dress does two quiet things. First, it shapes how you feel. When you look the part, you tend to carry yourself with a bit more confidence, and that shows up in how you work. And second, fairly or not, it shapes how others read you, how seriously they take you, the assumption they make in the first few seconds. So dress to fit the room you're trying to succeed in, and pay attention to the shift in how you show up. Think of it as investing in your presentation, and along with the skills from the last point, it raises your baseline earning potentials, which is the engine that funds every other upgrade on this whole list. Alright, so let's step back, because this was never really a shopping list. It's a complete pivot in strategy, moving away from hoarding cash out of pure habit and towards deploying it with intention to build a life you actually want. And here's how to put it to work without overthinking. First, honestly, check that your foundations are met. Savings, investing on a real cushion. If they are not, that comes first. Full stop. If they are, then ask yourself one question: where is my biggest friction point right now? Is it that I'm always exhausted, overshot on time, stuck in a stressful, draining space? Find the sorest spot and deploy your capital straight at it. Because here's the thing I want you to sit with. It's completely normal to feel a little uneasy when your savings rate dips slightly to do list. That hesitation is the frugal habit talking, and it serves you well for a long time. But reallocating some of that money towards your health, your time, and the people you love tends to produce a real visible improvement in how your days actually feel. You see, the number in your bank account doesn't change your daily reality at all, not until you deploy it. That's the whole game. These 10 upgrades are just a direct application of wealth into life. They're the reason we bother playing the financial game in the very first place. So, get your foundations in place, and then please actually use your money to support the life you want to live. Don't win the financial game only to lose the game of living well. I'll see you in the next one.